Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's doing well, and welcome to day 47 of reading 101 essays that'll change the way you think. As always, shout out to Brianna West for the text. If you're new here, welcome. You're just dropping in, welcome. You keep up every single day, welcome. You're all loved here. So today's title is, If We Saw Souls Instead of Bodies. If we could see souls instead of bodies, what would be beautiful? What is the first thing people would know about you? What would you most be afraid of them seeing? Who would you impress? Who would you love? What would you adjust as you walked past the mirror? What kind of work would you be in? What would your goals be? How would you strive to be better if what you collected in the bank or put on your body or attached next to your name on a business card no longer affected what people saw? Would you spend your time in gyms, in stores, in libraries, in temples? Who would you let yourself fall in love with? What would your type be? Tall, dark, handsome, or creative, kind, and self-aware? Whom would we idolize and what? How much of our governing body would be fit to lead? Whom would we make famous? Whom would we celebrate? Would we restructure our value system to prioritize the things that bring us true peace and desire, not just better than the norm? What would we do with all the money if we weren't spending it on decorating and changing and convincing everybody else that we are a way we really aren't? How would we define success? As who gathers the most stuff around their souls, or who is transformed the most and shines the brightest? What would it be like if our priority was to just become lightness? What kindness and joy and healing and rawness would come of the journey there? What would happen if we could see people not as bad, but as blocked? If we could see the ways they've packed away their pain, or how they hold a belief that keeps them away from being kind to others. How they are unaware that those issues even exist. What if we weren't afraid of the ways people are different than us? What would happen if we realized our bodies never wanted anything more than to feel connected and acted out on nothing more than their false ideas of being separate, different, exiled, the odd one out, the almost but not good enough? What would happen if we embraced our desire to play out and finagle with our individualism, but eventually returned to the knowing that we are all just energy fields? And where would we be if we realized that we were all from the same one? What would happen if we realized we really weren't that different at all? If we saw souls instead of bodies, I think the world would be such a better place. But that's not the case, because the reality is pretty privilege exists. If you look good, people will treat you a different way, because it's like, for relationships, you need to be attracted to a person in order to get that initial interest in the first place, right? You won't start talking to someone in a romantic sense if you didn't find them attractive. And then what keeps you there is their soul, right? What keeps you there is what's on the inside. But it's also asking yourself, what would you do if looks weren't a thing? What would you work on? Who would you want to be with, instead of being with someone who fits these exterior criteria? This is your type of person, right? Your type is a certain hair color, eye color, height, body shape, whatever it is. Instead of looking for those characteristics, what would you look for in someone's soul? Would you look for someone who shows you unconditional love, someone who's good at communicating, someone who is humble? What would you look for in a person if body didn't exist? What would you work on if body didn't exist? The reality is it does. But a lot of us, all we focus on is body. All we focus on is looks. I made a video about looks maxing and how it's unhealthy, how it's destroying and ruining our society and generations. This current generation is obsessed with look maxing, is obsessed with looking better. We're not obsessed with trying to be better, we're obsessed with trying to look better. And that's an issue because our souls, the people we are, we judge people and we separate people based on looks, right? If you don't fit certain criteria externally, then you won't be good enough. And that's the way the world works. That's the reality, and it's harsh. Life isn't fair. That's the way it is, but we can't fit and play by societal rules, right? Just because society tells you that you need someone who looks like this, you need to look like this, it doesn't mean that we need to be like that. You don't need to play the game. You can create your own. You can start your own. Just because somebody doesn't look a certain way, it doesn't mean that you can't give them a chance. What if we only saw souls? This is a good thing to think about, but also understanding that just to think about. There isn't a lot of practicality in this, but it's a good thing to think about because it's something that we often neglect. We neglect it within ourselves, and we neglect it within our lives, with other people, our relationships. Do I only follow this person? Do I only want to be with this person because of their looks? Or is it because of their soul? Is it because of who they are as a person? So ask yourself, am I only following this influencer? Do I only want to be with this person because of the way they look? And if they didn't look this way, would I still want to be with them? Would I still love them? Yes, attraction is important, but the soul is greater. The soul is something that never dies, never ages, never leaves. The soul is always the soul. But bodies change, people, their looks fade, they grow old. People will change, bodies will change, and that's why soul is always more important. So ask yourself, what am I doing for my soul? Who am I without my body? If I didn't look the way I did, what would I do internally? What are the things that I would work on for myself, not externally, not looks maxing, but becoming better, soul maxing? And it's for other people in your life as well. Do I like them for their looks or for their soul? So tomorrow's title is 16 Reasons Why You Still Don't Have the Love You Want. So I hope everyone enjoyed today's video. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 48.